Good morning. Good morning,
Hi.
Melly. Good morning,
Hi.
Saluta. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. Can you please leave in the comments where you're from?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Hanan. Good morning, Melly. Thank you for coming on the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, right? Because there are people from everywhere. We're so used to being here in the morning. Please do leave in the comments below where are you watching us from, and stay tuned because we have such an interesting topic today.
Yes, yes. We have our youngest guest today with us, Melly. Melly, I told you I'm so proud of what you're doing. Let me introduce her. The topic today is how you can turn your struggles into inspiration. And yes, we can, right, Melly? I know it's difficult, but we can. Melly is a graduating student this year. She's a podcast producer. She's the host of the ADHD Melly Show, and she's a mental health advocate. Her story is so inspiring because she herself has a lot of challenges going on, but she decided to turn those challenges into inspirations and help others and empower others. If you look at her profile, you will see events, you will see articles, you will see a lot of things going on in her life despite the challenges and despite the struggles that she's facing. I mean, this is a lesson to all of us, and I give you bravo, kudos, whatever you want, Melly. I'm really so proud that we met. And Melly, can you talk about your journey? How did you get here on LinkedIn on this path of inspiring people? We would love to know how it started.
It started in 2021 because I was like bored. I didn't had a lot of clients because I was doing websites. And because of the pandemic, everybody thinks that website magically was in demand, but it was not necessarily the case because a lot of my client was small business, and here in Canada it was locked down a lot, and some of the businesses unfortunately needed to close because they couldn't continue their businesses. And it was the same that was happening to me, because I didn't have any client. I was so much in debt. I'm still so much in debt. I'm not, nothing really changed for that, to be totally honest. A lot of things did change, but not money wise. If you check on my post, sometimes I'm like talking about me having ADHD and studying, and how much it's hard for me because I have a learning disability, and I'm just like trying to understand two very hard classes because there's a lot of maths in it and a lot of comprehension, a lot of graphics and stuff like that. I have difficulty to just memorize those things because when you have ADHD, each time that I spend 1 hour learning or working, equivalent to 3 hour in my brain. So for me, a normal 8 hours day is like almost if I was working 16 hours nonstop almost, and it's very hard for me to just find a normal job because they ask you to work for 8 hours. And even if I'm trying medication right now, not a lot's going to change. My attention span is going to be better. I'm not going to be as much tired mentally, but I'm still going to face some challenges because medication is not a magic pill, and my ADHD is not going to disappear. It's just going to be a little bit less bad because my ADHD is very, very severe, and it's like very handicapped for me. And even when I was doing some work for client, it always been difficult for me, and I couldn't accept as much client that I should to just pay my bills. I needed to take less, and you at the same time you cannot just put your rate too high anyway that what it's worth. So at the same time I was still struggling, and wasn't really understanding why it was so hard. But at the same time, I was diagnosed when I was a kid. But I look young. I'm still in college because I decided to came back to college when I was 30. I'm now 30. I'm going to be 34. And I decided to come back because I wanted to have a better future for myself. But at the same time, the reason why I didn't want to go to college is because I had so many hardship in school, and everybody was like putting me down and telling me that I was not able to do this and this and this because time I was studying, I was it was in the 2000, so ADHD neurodiversity was not studied as much. And I was diagnosed at 6, and somebody that I was talking about, they were like, it's too early to put a right diagnose, and just making sure that it is that for the rest of your life. It's just not possible to just comprehend that. So I decided in this on social media to talk about my struggle, and I realized that I was not alone in that. And some people have it, yes, easier because they have a support system, which I don't really have. I have a family, yes, but I don't feel like my family really understand my struggle because they don't face them. And yeah, so I know they are not the people to talk about those things because they wouldn't just understand, you know. They support me on other stuff, but with ADHD, they are really bad support. And it's not because I don't like them, it's just the reality, right? So I just decided I was talking to on social media. I was doing some article writing stuff, and I decided that I was going to do my show, the ADHD Melly Show, because I needed a platform where I could just communicate what I was feeling, and at the same time, I wanted to share with somebody else. So I was inviting new guests each week, and I did that for more than a year now. I do have some breaks now because I had some exam and stuff like that, so I couldn't just focus on that anymore. But it's coming back this Friday. I'm so happy for that. And this summer, I just decided I was going to do an event where there's going to be speaker talking about their own experience with ADHD and neurodiversity in general, and help other people that are neurodiverse, because I don't want people to have the same experience as me, because I was very neglect, not only after I got my diagnosis, but as a child too, before as well. And even with a diagnosis, I felt a lot of the time that I didn't have it. It was like if I didn't have a diagnosis, because I was treated the same way that somebody that did it, that wasn't understood. So I decided to do my event in Montreal because I'm from Montreal. And I decided to do it with live stream as well, so people all around the world could buy a ticket and come. Of course, it was people mostly liked it. It was a great experience for me. It was my first event doing that. You know, yes, there was some stuff that was not perfect. The filming was not perfect, but now I'm going to get some professional doing the filming this next session, because yeah, May 1st I'm going to do another event, the second event, and I'm making it even better. But I need sponsor, you know. And like I said, if you see my post, sometimes I'm just like, do you want to help me pay my studies, because I just cannot make the end for the month. And for me, doing my events are like my job right now, you know. I don't do anything else because I have to learn. I needed to learn that I cannot do everything, you know. I cannot do have a job plus school plus everything. So I need to cut it down some stuff, not because I don't want to make a living, but because my head just cannot handle doing too much stuff at the same time. And I get so much tired, you know, and it's very hard. Like I said before, doing 1 hour is almost like of having 3 hours
Yeah.
done, you know. And it's very hard to just being able to do everything. And with when you have ADHD, you have difficulty to just plan your day properly as well. And because you cannot only do a certain hours, because your head just cannot do it anymore, you feel like you're lazy, that you cannot do as much. You're just asking yourself why I cannot do as much, and this is very hard too. And this here, what I decide to do, decide to go see a doctor and see some professional to check out if I could go back on meds because I was just tired. And yeah, and I was starting getting depression as well because I didn't feel like I was successful like I deserved to be. And yeah, I'm on my second week, and I feel a little bit dizzy. I feel a little bit like the aftermath of having the drug because my body is not used to it now, and I feel a bit more emotional too, and etc. etc. So I just hope those get away because that's a little bit annoying. But
Melly,
yeah,
Melly, uh, thank you so much for saying
yeah, okay.
this. I can feel your pain. I can
Mhm.
relate to your pain. um, you are already successful, because I
Thank
know
you.
that a lot of people think of success as the financial
Mhm.
aspect of it, but you are already successful because you are showing up even if you don't feel good. You are doing
Mhm.
things even if you are struggling. And
Mhm.
every single thing you said, I can relate to it. I grew up as a kid, non-confident kid, because I had, like you, to be comfortable while I was not, to be
Mhm.
confident while I was not at all. I had my accident, I lost my eye, and I had to go back to school. I had a lot of difficulties in learning, and
Mhm.
nobody understood that, even my parents, you see? And
Mhm.
we used to have a teacher who segmented the class into three rows: the excellent and the medium and the mediocre. And guess
Yeah, I
what?
had that too. I had that too. And sometime when I was in kindergarten, a teacher just put me on a chair and they wrapped me with a cord just for me to stop moving. So yeah, I
Yeah.
totally know what is abuse because I got abused at school. I got abused by my peer. I've been abused by my parents. So I know what it is to not being
So you
understood.
see, I
Yeah.
stayed in that row for months, and that impacted a lot my self-esteem. And I
Mhm.
used to come to school with the feeling of like diarrhea because of the stress. Every
Mhm.
day I had to go to that class and feel that I am mediocre. You
Mhm.
see? And that's okay, because well, maybe these struggles that you are facing right now is what will get you where you would like to be. You see, I would not be
Mhm.
here talking to you if I didn't have these experiences in the past. It's sad, it's painful, I know. A lot of people don't want to be in that place, but
Mhm.
when you are the one who is experiencing that issue or that challenge, you need to handle it somehow, because nobody will do it at your place. But you're doing already great. You see,
Thanks.
you talked about a lot of things going on in your life,
Mhm.
and one of the things, how do you, like, I know that there are situations where you don't feel comfortable, where you feel, as you said, that you don't have full capacities, especially when, as a kid, we keep comparing ourselves to others.
Mhm.
So, what was your strategy, your own strategy of handling this? Like, is it something like I know that there are people who they react differently to challenges. Some people, they may isolate themselves. Some people may go and do different activities. What was your reaction, your strategy, I would say, in handling all these things in your life?
When I was a kid, I was always passing my time in the library. I was eating, and just after that, I was passing all the time reading. I don't know why, but I've never had a lot of difficulty with reading, which is very weird, but that's mostly what it is. I have to admit I was on medication when I was a kid, but even when it was late at night, I still was able to read, and I don't. And some people are very surprised when I say that. But at the same time, I was isolating myself in another world when I was reading. Harry Potter, Lord of the Ring, etc., etc. I read them like thousands of times. And I was putting myself in that world so I could just stop facing reality because reality just sucked.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
know.
sharing this.
Look
Yeah,
at she's deep breath. I know.
yeah, I'm breathing, and I wanted to tell you something, because you were saying earlier that, you cannot do many things, and when you don't do many things, you feel that you could have done more,
Hmm.
and you have that thing that we call kind of like you beat yourself up for not being
Hmm.
able to do these things. But I want to tell you something. I do that myself too, and I don't have the struggles with ADHD that you do have. I apologize for saying it, for not getting it right. So it is, unfortunately, this thing is familiar to all of us, and we're all of us in this mental struggle. A lot of time, most of the time, we're in this mental struggle. And Hannah knows me very well, and she knows how much time I spend in my head. So this
Hmm.
is something that we are all dealing with. And you also said something else, that there were people who were not good with you. They were not supporting you.
Hmm.
They were beating you down. Um, they were, they were not supporting you. I leave it like that. And still, what I want to acknowledge about you is that you turned this, and you were doing a show that is inspirational and that is for people.
Exactly.
And this is a huge
This
thing.
is noble. This is courage. This is a lot of things. You see, that's why I tell you this is you should really be proud of you. I mean, you don't need you are already successful and the money will follow, you see? Success, well, first is to overcome your own challenges first.
Hmm.
And then everything will follow. The moment you start feeling good about yourself, and this is something that you do every day by inspiring others and by overcoming these challenges, the rest will follow.
I hope so. Sooner the better.
Well, let's put it out here, right? So for this, you need help finding sponsors for your new next event, right? So
Yeah.
guys, if you're here watching us, and if you think there is any contribution, any support that you can give to Melly, and this is something we didn't talk about this, and if you've been watching us for a long time, you know that we are not promoting anyone. We're not doing any marketing here. We're just doing this because we want to inspire other people. But if you think you can help in any way, support Molly's mission moving forward, because she has a mission of inspiring other people and showing other people who go through the same struggles and face the same challenges and difficulties that she's facing. And uh, please do support her, reach out to her, and help her move this mission forward, help her take it to the next level, because we need people. We know that the pandemic created a space for the entire world to talk about mental health, right? Let's help Molly together take this
Mhm.
conversation further. Let's help her move her mission forward, because we need to be open about this. Neurodiversity is something that, to be honest, even though I consider myself an educated person, it's not a subject that I'm very aware of, and many of us are not aware of. And like her, there are many people out there struggling, and she put her fears and aside to be open and to share, to be vulnerable in front of all of us, in
Exactly.
front of all of you, to show you that there is life and you can do things despite the challenges that you have. And I think she needs all our support to take her mission forward, because it's not easy to show up and to talk about your challenges, to be vulnerable, to ask for help. It's not easy. And I think all of us here can attest to that. Many of us struggle and we feel um, we don't want to talk about our
Helpless. Mhm.
exactly, and we're afraid, and we think that people will judge us if we say that we suffer, that we struggle, or anything. So, if there is any way you feel you can help Molly move her mission forward, talking about ADHD and taking creating her vision and taking it to a larger scale, do reach out to her, do reach out to us, and we will connect you with her if you feel like you need a us between, as an intermediate. So tell us about, Molly, tell us about your podcast. Which are the topics? So you're talking about your struggles, and you said that you have guests. What are the topics that you're covering in your show?
Actually, my podcast is more about the guest than my own self, to be honest. Yes, I do talk about my experience as well, but also the guest's experience, because while I invite guests, it's more to show other people that they're not alone, that there's a lot of other people that are neurodivergent. It's not only me, it's not only them, it's a lot of people. And some were successful, some are less, some struggle still like I do, and some overcame their struggle. So that's why I have a lot of of guests all the time. So sometimes I talk about entrepreneurship, sometimes I talk about college with ADHD. Sometimes I talk about how to provide support to neurodivergent. I had also how to support child with neurodiversity, and how to create inclusive workplace, because that's the problem. There were more inclusive workplace. There were less people like me that were struggling finding jobs, because most business owner that are not neurodivergent, they just also people with neurodiversity, that's not really it's not really integrated. Yeah, I mean, if they are not neurodivergent, they don't understand neurodiversity, so they don't hire neurodivergent. And also they want to make more money, so they are not very patient with people that have difficulty with learning disabilities. And a lot of
Mm.
time, a lot, when I was younger, and even now sometime, I was like thinking that I was not intelligent, but neurodiversity is not touching your intelligence. It's just making some barriers that makes it even harder to use your intelligence. And most of neurodivergent people are higher than normal with their IQ. It's just the obstacles they have in front of them, like with attention and with etc etc. Sometimes is, it's just our brain has like less time in the focus section than anyone else, so it's make it harder to just work full-time job. And that I hope in the future there will be more part-time jobs that pays well. I know that if you work part-time you will have a less salary because you have less hours, but if you are paying well you still be able to meet hands, and it's going to be easier for people to just integrate in workplace. Because the problem, if you cannot have a work experience, because they always fire you because you're too slow in their own mind. Because when you're doing an interview, when you have ADHD, they're impressed in you and what you can do, etc etc. But when they see you in the workplace and you're so slow and they don't understand what happens, they don't recognize the same person they had in the interview, and that can be challenging. And at the same time you feel like you're not good enough yourself, you feel like beating up because they did fire you. And yeah, it's cool. It is all a topic that I want to talk to. Just
Melly,
yeah.
I heard you saying that you are still struggling on this journey in your career. I just wonder what needs to happen for you in order to be in peace with yourself and consider yourself like successful.
I will say that is to be able to pay my bills and not have always my rent late every month, and get out of debt as well, because I needed to borrow money a lot to just meet hand. And I'm not able to just refund everybody in every company at the same time, because one, I don't have a lot of support on my event. I had support mostly because people were like coming for a low price on my event. It doesn't matter because it's online. I mean, people just don't consider the work that I do necessarily, and they don't understand that it was my first event. That yes, there's some stuff that happened, and we were not on time live, and caption didn't work the way that I wanted to work, and the camera was not the greatest quality. But those were things that I was not able to see before, because I was not able to test everything out, because the location didn't allow it this to happen. And now I know what to do. I know that I need to hire somebody to take care of the stream and to film and etc etc, and for the caption etc etc. So now I'm going to have somebody to take that care of that, because I signed a contract with local television to film the show. And but most people about the conference themselves, had good review. They were super happy about that. But yeah, the technical difficulty happens, and I do my best to just make it better next time. And I want people to understand that sponsors and are they are unsure to sponsor again. Yes, it's normal that the first edition is, you don't make a lot of money, you don't make a lot of visibility as much as you want, and it's okay if you come back year after year and support me. It's going to be easy, it's going to work better. Now people know about me, and they didn't before. It's normal that the first edition is not as great as the futures one, and if you continue to support me, I will be able to make it even better. And if you stop supporting me, I'm not going to be able to succeed as much as I want, and that's normal. And if you like the vision, if you like what the conference, how they were, etc., etc., I accept all good criticism, all the criticism that you give me, and the suggestion. I always listen and want to make it better. And yeah,
Melly, you are already doing a great job. You see
thank.
how you talked about a lot of challenges, the challenges with technology, the challenges with your mind, the challenges of people, the support, but you are
Uh-huh.
still making it. You see, you're finding solutions, you're moving forward. And this is all what you need to become successful. And of course, success doesn't come at one shot or in
Yeah.
one easily. Like
Mhm.
once you decide to become successful, it's there. It's
Mhm.
stages. It's process. It's a journey, and enjoy the journey, Melly. So I know that you are a great reader.
Yeah.
I know that you read a lot.
Yeah.
I was too. I was reading a lot about successful stories, by
Hmm.
the way. And what I learned from the successful stories is that most of the people who succeeded and became even financially successful, they started from a lot of struggles.
Hmm.
They started from really deep challenges and struggles, and some of them they didn't have even resources to leave and to become independent. And it took them many, many years of work, hard work, of persistence, of clear vision, of consistency in order to get where they want to be. So
Hmm.
I consider that you are in really in the right path. I know that when we struggle, we learn a lot. It's not
Hmm.
because we read, it's because pain and challenges can teach us a lot. Can you share with us what did you learn from these challenges that you would like to share with the audience? Maybe it's a message to you somehow, the people who are going through difficulties, it can help them.
After it's more about asking for help. I will say to just do it if they want to mock you because you do a GoFundMe, but too bad for them, and just ignore bad comments, because sometimes they're always going to be, some comments saying that I was a beggar. Yeah, I'm a beggar, but what do you want me to say? And some people were touched on my story. I got more than 1K of money to pay for my study. I still have $700 to pay the bill, but I mean, it still was more than a K that wanted to give me money anyway and help me succeed school, because Yeah, and if you don't try it, you're never going to be able to do anything anyway. So if you wait too long, you're just going to start when you're going to start, and the past not can unfortunately can change, but you know what I mean. So yeah, so I just say just do it, and yeah, you cannot lose anything. You know, you just cannot. You just will be able to gain things of it. You know, and.
Nelly, I have a message to share with you.
Mhm.
Here it is. Can you see the message of Rolando
Mhm.
to you? He said, I totally relate.
Yeah, he just wrote me on LinkedIn the same message, and I'm thankful that that you follow my journey now, and you're now a connection, and I hope that you will like what I write. And yeah, I got some people with cerebral palsy on my show, so if you want to check that out, you can. So I understand that cerebral palsy is very challenging because it's not only in the head, you know, it's also physically that you are impaired as well. And that I understand that is very hard. It's not the same that ADHD, okay? The challenges are very more severe sometimes, it really, but just to encourage him and just support him, you know, and that's the most important is support. And if you don't have support, but you just cannot go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. And thank you so much for
Mhm.
sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Um, I just wanted to emphasize the thing that you shared that you learned from your
Hmm.
struggle, which is that two things that I heard you saying. One of them is that you cannot change the past. And
Hmm.
this is something so important to focus on the present instead of focusing on the past because we cannot change what happened to
Hmm.
us, regardless of how hard it was
Hmm.
and how much we would like. But the other thing that you shared that you learned was that you need to try it. You need to give it a
Hmm.
try if you want
Hmm.
to make it. And this is something that I hope all of us watching take away from our show today as well, that whatever the thing that you're working on, whatever your challenge, whatever your struggle it is, give it a try because always there is a 50% chance to make it.
Hmm.
And if you don't try it, you will never know and you will live with the regret that you haven't tried it. And I think the fact that you shared this story with us and you shared your learning with us,
Hmm.
it's so powerful because
Thanks.
there's no other way for moving forward but trying, giving it a
Mhm.
try, and also, just continuing being consistent with what you're doing regardless. And this is something that Hanane keeps on saying, you need to be consistent regardless of
Mhm.
the challenges,
Yeah.
regardless of the drawbacks, regardless of how difficult it may be some days.
Yeah. Well, I experienced days where I had no clue where I was going. I was desperate. I had a lot of pain, chronic pain. I didn't have any support because, as you said, people, even my parents,
Mhm.
didn't understand what I was going through. But you see, I needed to keep going because I couldn't just give up. So, Melly, the only thing that I can tell you is that you are a very, very courageous and resilient
Thank
person,
you.
and I strongly believe that your actions, the things that you are doing right now, will lead you to where you would like to be. You just need to keep faith and strong belief that you will get there at the right moment. I know it's tough because you have financial struggles also,
Mhm.
and sometimes we all do. So just keep going, and sometimes you never know, one single thing, one single event, one single person can change your whole life. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the people who join us today. Thank you, Rolando, for sharing your experience. Thank you, Jim, for your usual support. Thank you, Juana, who joined us.
Thank you, Anna. She's my number one fan. She's always there on
Uh,
my show all the
you
time. She's
see how
always
you felt excited? Well, you have
yeah.
support. Yeah. Thank you, Petra. Also, she said that you have her support. Also,
She's also my number one fan. I have a lot of number one fans.
you see, well, you see how your energy change when you talk about your
Mhm.
plans. There are people who love you for who you are, and
Mhm.
there are people who follow you for the good things you are doing. So keep inspiring, and we are
Thank
here
you.
also to support you.
Exactly. And before we go, can you please share with the audience that doesn't know you very well where they can connect with you, where they can support you,
Sure.
with your show, your endeavors?
Sure, absolutely. You can, of course, find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active. Melly Moore, you can check that out. You can check on YouTube the ADHD Melly Show if you want to, or the ADHDMellyShow.com. You also will be able to see on that same page the event if you want to pre buy the tickets. You won't see who's going to come yet, but the price are lower because I want to see if people wants to support me as well. So the tickets are in sale right now. If you want to buy one, you can come visit me in Montreal as well because the event is in person as well, or online live stream or on replay. So you'll be able. My show is Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time every Fridays. And yeah, that's mostly where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for showing up
But
today, even if you have your own commitments and constraints.
yeah,
Thank you for being authentic. Thank you.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome rest of your day. Make sure to tune in and follow Melly as well. Follow us here on LinkedIn. If you're watching on YouTube, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Meanwhile, have a rest of your week that is great and full of sun, even though the sun is not out, and full of maybe even gratitude for being alive, bringing a bit of gratitude in your life. Thank you so much, Melly. Thank you,
You're
everyone. Thank you,
welcome.
Hanane.
Melly, last thing. I would like you to see me and repeat after me. I will make it.
I will make it then.
No, no. With more energy. I will make it.
I will make it.
Yes, we all. Thank you again. Bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.